So you're probably wondering, how do I go about choosing the best Steward Perks in Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord? In this video, I will discuss my thoughts on chosen options to help guide you in making better decisions. I'll be explaining my logic behind every chosen perk, and we can debate about this in the comments below. And you can tell me whether you think my thinking may need to be re-looked at. First, let's understand what the Steward Perk is and how to learn it. The Steward Perk is your knowledge of what makes a settlement prosper. It helps you to manage an estate or administer a town. There are 3 ways to increase the Steward Perk. 1. Gain party morale from food variety as a quartermaster. 2. Improve settlement prosperity and build projects as a governor. And 3. Spend time in your settlements as a clan leader. The effects of the Steward Perk are that it increases party size by 0.25 per level. So, at level 100, your party would have an additional 25 troop slots available. At level 25, we have the choice between Frugal or Spartan. I would suggest going with Frugal, as the benefits outweigh those of Spartan, in my opinion. In the long run, the larger your army becomes, the more cost savings you will experience due to the 5% reduced party wages and the massive 15% reduction in recruitment costs. For example, if your recruitment costs are 20 dinars per tier 1 troop without the perk, with the Frugal perk, 95% of that cost is reduced to 17 dinars per troop, which is a 3 dinar saving. 3 times 100 troops equate to a 300 dinar saving each time you recruit 100 troops. In my mind, we'll be going through a lot more troops when at war than those troops will consume food, and the cost of food overall is cheaper per unit than recruitment cost. It is worth noting that the morale penalty occurs when you have less than 3 types of food, so be sure to carry at least 3 different types of foods. At level 50, we have the choice between Drill Sergeant or 7 Veterans. Drill Sergeant offers a +2 daily XP for all troops and a 5% reduction in garrison wages. 7 Veteran offers a +4 daily XP for tier 4 plus troops and 1 militia per day. I would suggest going with Drill Sergeant, as when combined with the leadership perk, Raise the Meek, your level 1 troops can be leveled up quick and will gain a total of +6 XP per day every morning. This makes for a better recovery of your army's strength during times of war when there is limited time to respond to enemy sieges. If, however, you aren't too concerned with XP for troops and prefer a more balanced character, then I would suggest going with 7 Veterans for that extra militia per day. Militia does not add to the wages of the settlement's garrison, which is a major benefit. For me, the 5% reduction in garrison wages and the extra XP allows for me to reduce scaling costs of garrison and increase recovery time of my personal armies to at least tier 3 troops. Again, this is personal preference, and I hope you would agree. At level 75, we have the choice between Stiff Upper Lip or Sweatshops. Stiff Upper Lip reduces food consumption while in an army by 10% and reduces garrison wages by 20% for castles. Sweatshops offer a 20% increase in production for workshops owned by you and faster construction of siege engines by 20%. I recommend going with Stiff Upper Lip, as when looking at the numbers, the savings in garrison wages can be significant. For example, if a castle's garrison costs 2,000 dinars per day, with a Stiff Upper Lip perk, that cost would be reduced to 1,600 dinars, which is the equivalent of a whole village's income. On the other hand, while Sweatshops offers a 20% increase in workshop production, you can only own a maximum of 7 workshops at max clan level, which results in a total increase of 280 dinars, assuming workshops produce 200 dinars a day before the perk is active. I'm happy to explain the math in the comments below. Additionally, the benefits of Stiff Upper Lip apply to all castles, whereas the benefits of Sweatshops only apply to workshops owned by you, which is a maximum of 7. Overall, the Stiff Upper Lip perk offers greater long-term benefits, as you are more than likely going to own more castles than you would workshop. There is also no limit on how many castles you are allowed to own. At level 100, players have the option to choose between the Efficient Campaigner or Paid-in Promise perks. I always choose the Paid-in Promise perk because combined with the daily XP perks I have previously chosen, it allows me to train my army back up to fighting strength quicker through the donation of discarded armor. I'm not a major fan of raiding villages, which I plan to control after winning the siege, and therefore I feel it would cause more harm for the villagers, so I tend to stay away from this one. If, however, you do raid villages, then there is some merit in choosing Efficient Campaign, as holding large armies requires large amounts of food, and raiding villages outside of villages you plan to control would in theory negate the cons I've just described. At level 125, players can choose between the Giving Hands or Logistician perks. The Giving Hands perk allows players to donate discarded weapons to troops for increased experience and increases tariffs income by 10%. Tariff income is trade income which applies to all villages and caravans entering the settlement. Note, this would not apply to castles, as villages and caravans do not go there, so keep that in mind. This perk also allows for equipment donation, distributing 50% of the value of discarded weapon items as XP among troops if the player has this perk. I would choose Giving Hands because it allows for the donation of discarded weapons to train troops, and I don't see too much added value for the +4 morale benefit, as I can actively do this by carrying all types of food in my inventory. The 10% tax income being 10% higher also seems to be a diminished return in my mind. Earning 10,000 dinars in taxes with this perk active, this would increase to 11,000, and at that point I feel 1,000 dinars would be negligible, assuming we have tons of money. I could be horribly wrong, and if I've missed something, please let me know. At level 150, players can choose between the Aid Corps or Relocation perks. I would choose Aid Corps because if I'm fighting to defend my territory, I will frequently have wounded soldiers. I would not pay wages for these wounded soldiers while they recover, and enemies attacking my towns would decrease their hearth rate. With the 20% increase in hearth rate growth, a village's prosperity would increase faster after a raid, and my tax income would return to normal a lot quicker. 20% quicker to be exact. Reason being is that villagers' hearths are directly linked to the amount of tax that you can claim from that village. If, however, you're in a position where you are comfortable with your garrison and militia and aren't at war with anyone, you may find it more beneficial to take advantage of increasing your influence to assemble armies with clan members by donating troops and get your castles and settlements projects done 20% faster. This would obviously be for the Relocation perk. The number of times I've lost a settlement to re-siege it and lose it again takes away from the benefit of boosting projects or the Relocation perk, in my opinion. Again, this is up for interpretation, and let me know what your thoughts are. At level 175, players can choose between the Gourmet or Sound Reserve perks. I would choose Sound Reserve perks as it reduces the cost of upgrading units. I tend to find myself upgrading units more often than sieging, which in my mind scales better into the late game. When I do siege, food consumption of parties is reduced by 10%. I must be honest though, having maximum workshops, caravans, and not worrying about money, having a high morale, doubling the food variety benefit is quite tempting. At level 200, players have the choice between contractors or forced labor. You cannot be a governor of a castle, and the governor perks would only apply to your companions who you set as a governor. For this reason, I see more value in choosing reduced costs for mercenary troop wages and upgrade cost reduction by 25% versus the prisoners acting as an extra capacity. I don't think either choice is bad and would come down to personal preference, but I do see more value in expanding my kingdom by paying less for mercenaries. At level 225, players can choose between Arenicos horses or Arenicos mules. If you're playing a trade-based game, it is recommended to choose Arenicos mules, as this increases the carry capacity of your mules. Otherwise, Arenicos horses is the better choice, as this increases the troops' carry capacity. At level 250, players can choose between Master of Planning or Master of Warcraft. Master of Planning reduces food consumption by 40% while in a siege camp, and increases the effectiveness of continuous projects for settlements by 20%. Master of Warcraft reduces troop wages by 15% while in a siege camp, and decreases the amount of food consumed by the town population by 5%. I recommend choosing Master of Planning due to the increased effectiveness of continuous projects. I see more value in that, but again, in my mind, this sounds more scalable as all settlements will improve faster the longer the game goes on, which creates efficiency. At level 275, we are left with no choice but to choose the Price of Loyalty. This perk decreases party food consumption, wages, and combat morale loss by 0.5% per skill level, above 250 for the Quartermaster, and increases tax revenues for governed towns by 0.5% per skill level above 200 for the Governor, which again would only apply for companions. There are many other useful perks in the game, and it's up to you to decide which ones are best for your playstyle. If you enjoyed this video, please help me out by leaving a like and subscribe to the channel to see more how do I guides for all gaming related content. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.